hey, you have the potential to lose 12 pounds. This is what it's going to cost you.
Yeah. But it happened in 4 weeks. Four
In four
weeks.
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. If that's not motivation, I don't know what is. That's what really brought me in, of how quick it could happen. And that's what I need. I could have been on a 1400 calorie for 60 days and I would have never lost this amount. I would have never had that motivation to keep going.
You might have lost 8 pounds at a pound a week
Yeah.
if you could stick to it, if you didn't have weekends
Hey,
off or
and you get willy-nilly. You really do. Bite here, bite there.
This is Mastering Menopause. By using fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, and mindset, you can master your hormones and get your body back. I'm Kathy Cote with Catalyst Fitness and Nutrition. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to Mastering Menopause. Today, I'm very excited to be joined by client Cheryl Vaillancourt, and we are going to talk about her experience working with us and her most recent experience with a 4-week shred, the summer shred that we did. Welcome, Cheryl.
Thank you.
So we're going to talk about your experience with this 4-week summer shred, but I think we should set it up with how you came to us in the first place and then where you started. So you would start with us. No, we're not going to go all the way back to Jumpstart, right? Because that was a few years ago. And
Yeah.
I want to say 3, right? Probably.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I think I can do this. And then it was like, you know what? I think I really need that one-on-one help. And so that's when you reached out to us. And this is when you first heard me talking about, and you were probably surprised to hear me talk about doing more of an aggressive protocol.
Yes, because you were always about it's a marathon. Take your time. It's all right. Steady and slow wins the race. And then all of a sudden you presented two.
Well, it is still like that, but
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, but you put out there a way to jumpstart it with the 2-week rapid fat loss. And that really caught my attention. Oh, I can do it for 2 weeks. But it ended up being a 90-day plan. But in those first 2 weeks, my
That
fat
was the
percentage.
first of, I think we did January 8th, right? That was
Yes,
like, let's
yes.
go.
Yes, absolutely. And I was at my highest weight that I've ever been, even being pregnant. And I need to make a change and I need something that gives me, oh, all right, I've lost 4 pounds. I can do this. And that 2-week rapid fat loss is really what kind of gave me the momentum to get the mindset of keep going. And then I did it for 90 days. And then all of a sudden you did this 8-week shred. And I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. What are we doing? What has Kathy got going on?
Yeah.
Religiously
We'll
follow.
talk about the 2-week rapid fat loss because these are two different animals.
Yes.
So the reason why I love doing that 2-week rapid fat loss protocol is because it does give you that jump start, but it's short. And so we get those wins, 5 to 7 pounds. I forget what you lost on that first.
I think I think it was like 7 pounds.
Oh, was it 7? Yeah.
It was anywhere from 5 to 7. I don't recall exactly, but it was at the higher end.
Yeah. And I say in that when we do this protocol, because like when you guys first get your calories, you're like, oh my God. And then I say, because it's ascending calories that we go every 3 days, you get more calories. But I always say to let this change you and to let this be more of an exploratory on your habits. And it kind of
Mhm.
highlights some of those habits where when you go so low with calories, so we're talking under triple digits, guys. We'll talk more specifics on this 4-week, but there is no room for the Cheez-Its and
No.
the Winston's and the alcohol and the little licks and bites and tastes. And then you start to focus in on, holy shit, I got to measure the creamer in my coffee, what that looks like.
And I remember our conversation when you told me how many fat grams I could have. I'm like, holy shit, what is she thinking? There is no way I can do this. You
Mhm.
can do it. And you can do it and not feel like you're starving or depriving yourself. I didn't feel that way.
Because you guys, you get to pick what you're having.
Yes.
So I think that's definitely part of the process where I'm not saying like you can still have the foods that you want, not necessarily all of the foods that you want, but
Right.
especially
And
the
it's
foods
all
that you
about
like.
portion control and really measuring, because everyone says, oh, that looks like a half a cup, and you don't measure when it could be really almost closer to a cup. You get willy-nilly, you get complacent, and that's when the weight loss slows down, or you become not as successful.
Because typically, like I will say, I always say this, like maintenance is anywhere from 1,700 to 2,200 calories for most women. What was your maintenance? Do you remember?
1945.
1,900. So when we go into a standard deficit, right, that would be 1,450, maybe 1,500 calories. And
Right.
so here's your deficit at 1,500 calories, which at first is like, okay, but then again, when you start slipping, that 1,500 calories is no longer 1,500 calories. It's more like 1,700 calories.
Mm.
Now we're not in the deficit needed. And then I start to hear my 1,500 calories isn't working anymore. And so this was why I'm like, because the math ain't mathin'. So I think this really highlights the
Mhm.
first client that ever did this was Angie, and she was,
Mm.
wow. So this is an approach that I highly encourage, like almost all of my clients to take just for the awareness more than anything. It's not even for the results, although that is the benefit, the true benefit is highlighting what you're doing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because we did the 2-week fat loss, and then I was with it in the program for 90 days, and that 1,500 calories. And I didn't have the big weight loss. I got willy-nilly with my measurements, or not my measuring, but of my food, and a taste here, a drink here, a little ice cream here. And you're like, it'll be fine. I don't need to track it. What happens is you're just not successful. You're going to stay the same, or you might even going to add a little bit.
I
For it.
think you watched me do my photo shoot, right? And
Yes.
I wasn't super forthcoming at the beginning about how low my calories were. I said
No.
it was triple digits. And then towards the end, I was like, okay, I think I can tell them.
Then you started sharing. Yes.
Yeah, because I didn't want anybody hopping on. And you saw in the group, everybody's calories were the same, but a lot they're different. It doesn't work the same for everybody.
No, because you have women that are a little bit more leaner. Maybe they were looking for that more muscle definition, just defining a little bit, or like women who are like me that have a little bit more fluff, that we want to become a little bit leaner.
Mhm.
And so weight loss is going to be variant between the women who are leaner versus the ones who have a little bit more to lose, a little bit more fluff.
So then you saw the 4 week summer shred where I said you can lose between 10 and 12 pounds in 4 weeks.
Yeah. And my goal was like, oh, hell yes, I want those 12 pounds. I was like all in. I want to crush it. I was in that mindset of, yes, I'm going to do this. And yes, it's in the middle of summer.
I
Yep.
know, I have to give you guys.
It's the middle of summer when, Kathy, me and ice cream. It's, ooh, this is rough. But you know what? It was 6 weeks from the time I started to the time I had ice cream. It was on my anniversary that we had ice cream. But,
Oh, so you waited even after?
yeah, it just happened that way, but I'm more conscious of it now.
Mhm.
And my mindset was like, oh, hell yes, I want to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, you were all in. And that was there were definite parameters for who came in. So there was an application process. And part of the parameters, what you had to be well versed in macros, you had to be tracking macros and currently tracking and have no significant event, not a significant event in this 4 week time frame.
Right.
So there were
Right.
quite a few people that just didn't. I'm like, I'm sorry, this isn't going to work for you because of those two parameters. Now, I used Martin McDonald's aggressive dieting calculator to calculate everybody's starting macros. And when I did yours, I was like, okay, you and Marina like didn't really fit into that, like that 2 pounds right? And I knew there would be some people that could lose a little bit more, but it also came at a little bit of a price. And so I said, hey, Cheryl, good news, bad news.
Right.
And that's when we had the conversation about how aggressive do you want to be? Because we can lose only 2 pounds a week,
Yeah.
or you have the potential, if you're doing it anyways, to legit lose 4 pounds a week. And also, I think I should preface this, like, we did not just haul ass throughout this whole thing. You guys
Yeah.
got a diet break. You got a refeed 2 weeks in. It
Yeah.
wasn't just like pedal to the metal the whole time. But what'd we start you at, Cheryl?
My calories, is that what you're saying? 750.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And 15
now,
grams of fat and 35 carbs. Like, holy crap.
yeah. Now, when we had the conversation, I was like, you have this opportunity, but this is what it looks like. And so what were you thinking? I know you already said initially, holy crap, but
Yeah. But it didn't scare me off. Like, I was just so in it. Like, yeah, I really want to do this, for sure.
do you mind sharing is it all right if we talk about that, or we can just talk
Yeah,
about?
absolutely.
Okay. All right. So you started now with Martin's calculator. It's like a regular calculator, but it very much is influenced by your body fat percentage. And so we use the Navy SEAL body fat calculator for whatever it's worth. That's just the measurements that we take. Actually, Martin's is based on that formula where we take the measurements of the neck and then the smallest part of the waist and then the hips. You can take that for a woman to calculate your body fat percentage. And so that dictates a lot about what with the calories, and that's why your calories were so low. Typically somebody with a lower body fat percentage would get a little bit more calories, but it wasn't like a huge amount. I will say for some of the leaner girls, like it was 2 pounds a week that they were losing, but their calories were about that in that 750 range anyways. It's just, you got an extra pound out of it every single
Yeah. Yeah.
So you started at 172.6 and you, girl, you freaking lit it up. You lost 8.4 pounds in that first week.
Yeah. Is that the right starting weight? Let me,
That's what it says here on 718, 172.6.
oh, because I think I had it at 178.4, but
Okay,
that's
maybe
okay.
I'm missing a line.
You might be missing a couple lines because I kept it here in my notes. Every day is 178.4
Okay.
was
Because
my
because I
original.
have your like minus and okay. So
Yeah.
I'm missing a couple lines. So 43%. And then I gave you guys a spreadsheet so you could see like it would calculate how much loss per week and then total loss. And so for that first week, for that first week, it was 6.8 pounds.
Yes.
And a
Yes.
3% and a 3% reduction in body fat. And so I want to stress that this is very much a focus on fat loss and maintaining muscle mass. And so we keep protein high, and that's where the bulk of the calories are coming from. And then typically we'll pull down on fats and pull down on carbs. Now, when you don't have that many calories, it's more advantageous to pull down from fat so that you could have some carbs. Because you could go the other way. You could have had 20 grams of fat, but then carbs would have been way down. And I think a man can do that. I don't think that is advantageous for women in their 40s or 50s. I think we can
Yeah.
easily pull down fats and keep the carbs up. 34 grams of carbs it is not a lot. Now, not everybody else, you and Marina, like you stayed with those calories. We just stayed throughout. Everybody else got calorie jumps, about 75 calories for each week. So they were getting.
Right.
But it's just insane, isn't it? 6 pounds in the first week?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
how
totally
motivating is
insane.
that?
Very motivating. And that first week is hard. You're tired, you have a little brain fog, you're a little fatigued and agitated. But when you see that 6 pound loss, you're like, oh, yeah, I can do this.
How long were those? So I call that the adaptation process that you go through when your body adjusts to those lower calories. How long did that last?
It was probably a week and a half to 2 weeks for totally adjustment where I didn't have a lot of hunger pains and I got adjusted and seemed to function quite well. There
Isn't that
was,
crazy?
yeah, it is really crazy. And I did get hunger, but not like I was expecting to be hunger. And I found things to help me get through it. Herbal iced tea was my go-to because it just had a nice flavor, but it doesn't have any calories, but it just tasted good and helped me get through those 20, 30 minutes before dinner's ready.
Yeah. I think one of the things too, when we're looking at like behavior change and lifestyle change, is learning to recognize when we are truly hungry and when we're just bored hungry. When we just like, it just like Pavlov's dogs, when you like hear a bell and it's like, oh, like for me, I have the 9 o'clock wine o'clock. I was like, I
Yeah.
and it's 9 o'clock because I'm like, I'm ready for a glass of wine. We're very conditioned for that. So were you able to recognize then, like, what are true hunger cues? I know you went through that in the 2 week rapid fat loss, but this.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of it comes from boredom, just digging through the kitchen. Oh, I need something to do. So I was looking for food to snack on, and I've cut that out completely. I do have my snacks throughout the day, but they're a healthier snack. And I'm not rummaging through the cupboard and just chunking on some chips or
Seeing what
popcorn
looks
or,
good.
yeah, or a handful of nuts and it turns into 2 handfuls of nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have that.
I think, to be honest, I think that's the reason why we have a weight loss problem, like obesity problem. I'm not calling you obese, but we're consuming too many calories, and a lot of that stuff is coming from fats and highly
Yeah.
processed foods because it's so palatable and you can't stop eating it. That's where that's coming from, is like those extra calories. And talk about nuts, like they just pile up really quick.
Yeah, they're so good. And like, oh, it's just a small amount. I can have a little more. And that's kind of, I struggle with that. But I've learned now that I can have a couple and I'm okay with that. I don't need to have that full serving.
Full serving of nuts is 200 calories. It's 190.
Yeah, it's a
That's a,
lot.
it's a good chunk, right? You have to throw two of those. It's like the peanut butter. It's like,
And I would rather eat something, I would rather eat a lot more healthier stuff and feel much fuller.
yeah.
And just feel full all the time. Not the
So,
hunger.
so you're marching through, and then we get to the refeed. Were you nervous about taking that refeed?
Yes, absolutely. Because I'm like, I've just lost, I don't know, maybe by then
8.4 pounds.
oh my God. Yeah, I was just guessing 8 pounds. And I'm like, I worked hard to get these 8 pounds off. I don't want to gain it back. That was my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But I did get into the refeed. I didn't probably max out my calories because it takes an adjustment when you're not eating so much. And then you've cranked up the calories to your maintenance calories. It's like, my God, this is a lot of food. I don't know how to consume all this.
And
You
that's
know,
the second part of why this is so successful, right? As far as behavior change, like all of a sudden, this seems like a
yeah,
lot of food.
yeah, yeah. And
Even going into like back to a regular deficit, when you come from so low, like with a client coming in, it's okay, now how are we feeling about that 1,500 calories? Because before, like I feel this is 1,500 calories isn't working, and then you get back to that 15, and you're like, whoa, this is a lot of food.
exactly. Exactly. And it's not like shying away from carbs, or the pasta or the rice. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is part of it. You can enjoy all this stuff. Don't deprive yourself of these things because you can
Um,
have them.
Yeah, did you have your feet up too? I forgot to talk about that. So before we even do this kind of approach, we got to have a feet up.
I had no problem eating beyond my maintenance calories because we were eating out to dinner a lot. We had a lot of ice cream dates. I had no problem
Okay, yeah.
whatsoever.
So just for clarification, there's a refeed, I should say a starting protocol before you do something like this. So we want to make sure, I think we set the protein at like moderate, and then fats were I would say on the low side for what you would normally look at, right? 45
Right.
grams, and then the rest was from carbs. So this was a pretty substantial amount, like for a lot of people. And the reason for that is to fill the glycogen because it takes a while before you actually truly get depleted. And Martin McDonald's calculator does calculate that. And this is the reason why after you adapt, not just physiologically, but also mentally to those calories, because like you tell me, what was your experience like on the first workout trying to get those in?
The first week was really rough. I really
Okay.
struggled at it and I made sure I did the 4 days and it was all I could do to get it in and get through it and the walking. I really enjoyed keeping the walking going, but the first week of workouts was really rough. I
Mhm.
struggled, but I pushed through. And I'm even the second week, I was tired and it took a lot, but I pushed through. And in our group chat, that was one thing that I found encouraging that we were all feeling the same and we encouraged each other, just keep going. And that I found very beneficial.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, it was no struggle at all. I enjoyed doing it and kept with it.
Yeah. Did you notice any change in strength?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely felt a lot stronger, sitting a little straighter, shoulders back a little bit more, a little quicker on my walk. I have a pretty good hill that we go through every day. And I had the strength. I felt great.
Yeah. Awesome. Sorry, we backtracked a little bit. So you had your maintenance. We had to have a little discussion with hubby about ice cream
Yeah.
dates, right?
Yeah. But you know what? He handled it really. He wasn't like, oh, you're on this crazy diet. You can't go out to eat. He's like, what are we having tonight? And we ate a lot of shrimp. He's such a seafood person. And I beefed it up for him and he didn't have a problem. He was very supportive the whole way through. Absolutely. And we had a festival that we went to, and I just packed my food and I made it through. I kept the blinders on, and I didn't feel like I was missing anything because I was so focused on where I wanted to be at the end to reach my goal.
And really, what were you missing out on? Fried
Nothing.
Twinkies?
Yeah, and I wouldn't eat those anyways. That's not stuff that I would normally eat. So it, I don't even know what was at the festival that I would have missed. Honestly, I don't even remember. Doesn't matter.
You really did so well with the whole processes and taking on the challenges that came with it. All right, so then let's see what happened with you come off of the maintenance. So you go up to week 2, you were down 8.4 pounds. And then you gained 1.6 pounds first day, and then you gained another pound. And let's just preface this like, Cheryl didn't lose 8 pounds of fat in the first week, okay? Also water weight as well. But when we're talking about this weight gain, this is also not fat. This is more related because you were not in a deficit, or I'm sorry, you were not in a surplus. You were at maintenance. And from what you were saying, didn't quite maybe hit the calories, right? I can understand that.
Yeah.
Um, but how crazy is it, right? You gained 2.6 pounds on the scale, and then the next day you lost 2 of those
Right.
on day 3. So
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah, just gone. And like Marina, she had the same fear that I did because she was doing it a week after. And I made sure that I encouraged her that you need to trust the process. It's going to be all right.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
she did, and it worked.
yeah.
It works.
Corey too, I think, was really scared.
Yeah, I think so as well. Because you work hard. Wow, that's 8 pounds. And women our age, it's hard to lose those 8 pounds. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
It's hard.
yeah. This is such a huge pattern interrupt.
Yes, it is.
It
It
really
is.
is. Like with the refeeds, it was like I had the same experience too. It was like, because I had the same experience. I'm like, oh my gosh. Now I did like an aggressive refeed where I was like well over. But same with the same experience, like 450 grams of carbs for 3 days. It was fun.
God.
It was fun. But it was so weird. And
Yeah.
so it's like, so the point of the refeed, it isn't so much, yes, it's good to take a break mentally, but really the reason that you take it is to refill those glycogen stores
Mhm,
that we're
mhm.
not creating that metabolic damage. So we see on Biggest Loser, like you are going to tear, and maybe I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there because that's a hotbed right now. But when you look at somebody who's doing an aggressive diet and you would say that's dangerous, you can't do that to women. You can, but you have to do it responsibly. And you have
Right.
to make sure that we're refeeding, and we have to make sure we're protecting the muscle so that we're not losing muscle. And so we're targeting fat. That's what we want.
Mhm.
Target that fat loss. So
Yeah.
there's a method to the madness. And it really comes down to, I think the success comes down to a willingness to do it, right?
You can't be half in.
You cannot be half in. No, it just won't.
No, you
And the
can't. It just
timing,
won't work.
the timing, yeah. Now, I will say this was not the best timing to start on the middle of July.
Yeah. But you know what? It worked for me.
Yeah.
I didn't have, there was that one festival and that was it. We were low key. It just worked well for us, for
Yeah.
me.
We finished on August 10th, and you lost. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so no, we finished on the 8th technically, but by the 10th, you were down to 12.2 pounds lost.
Yeah, because I just wanted to just go 2 more days
To finish that off.
and just finish it off. Because you had it on our chart, and I'm like, I'm not gonna leave it empty. I gotta put something in there.
So
Yeah.
that was so total loss. Yeah, 170. Oh, I don't have your start, the exact.
It was 178.4, and I think it was 166 point something.
Yeah. Oh,
And
okay.
then,
160.
and my fat percentage dropped to 32%. Incredible. It's mind blowing.
That's mind blowing from 43%.
Yes. And I'm going to go back from the first of the year. I am down 23 pounds, and my starting fat loss was 48%.
That's incredible.
So, yeah, it's very incredible.
Yeah. Well done. And just in this short amount of time, I think you said you lost 11 and a half inches.
Yes.
And you took pictures every week?
Yes,
And
I did.
how did the pictures look?
It was very transforming. Like it was very transforming, and wow, what a huge difference in my abdomen. It was mostly my inches and everything was in my abdomen. My neck didn't really lose a lot. My chest kind of stayed the same. I'm just forever busty.
Lucky.
But it was in my abdomen. I'm sorry. And I don't have a big butt. I've always said my butt is in my gut, because I just have a flat butt. There's nothing there. All my fat was in my gut, is what I've always said. But that has transformed. Everything is shifting, and I'm definitely much stronger. I have such tremendous energy now.
You definitely have more definition in your face too, right? Less inflammation. I think that we addressed a lot of that at the beginning of the year anyways.
Yes.
Well, but
Yes.
I'm sure you saw it like again, right? Because here's the thing, right? A 1,500 calorie moderate deficit will work, but it's just enough to hang yourself with stuff that's not the best stuff. And so
Yeah.
what we're doing with this process is you have to be, I don't want to say meticulous, but you're solving for protein and the leanest amount of protein possible. I managed to make my way around with chicken thighs. I did not eat one chicken breast during my whole thing.
Oh, to
So,
me, the driest thing was tuna. For some reason, I just couldn't eat tuna. It was just too dry. I had much
are
better
you
with
getting
just
it out of the pouch or the can?
out of the can. And I
Oh,
don't know why.
I left mine a little wet.
Yeah, I should do that. But anyways, I
Yeah.
survived.
Yeah, it is funny. Like you find the things that work that you wouldn't normally have, like life to life, and it can be monotonous, but there's almost something to having the same thing all the time where you don't have to think about it.
And I'm that kind of person. I'm the kind of person that eats the same thing for breakfast. I eat the same for lunch, and dinner is where I mix it up. The weekends, those things might get changed around a little bit, but for the most part, those first 2 meals of the day, I'm eating the same thing. And I don't mind. It's okay. That's what I'm eating. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's fuel. It's not, there's some people who are just so food driven. Oh, I gotta have this and I gotta have that on my lobster or whatever. And I'm like, it's just fuel for me. I'm not as food driven as some people.
So I want to talk about your daughters, but the one thing that I do want to, and I've said this before, I said I view this as a health phase because we're eliminating, and I know that sounds crazy, but because we're eliminating the processed foods and we're eating whole foods, like this
Yeah.
is very much a health phase. I know for me, I have so much new hair growth. Like now it's just driving me crazy.
Oh,
I have these hairs that are this long. This is from my aggressive fat loss phase.
wow.
All new hair growth. Guess
Wow.
what? People on Ozempic are losing their hair by the
Yeah.
fistfuls. And my hairdresser said that's because she saw the COVID hair as well. The people are losing hair and they're losing it by the handfuls in her bowl. But she's like, there is no regrowth.
Ooh, that's
No,
scary.
no regrowth. And
Yikes.
why? Because they're not changing their habits.
No.
They're not eating. And then when they do, they're not really focused on healthy foods I would
Mhm.
say like that's what's going on. And
Mhm.
you can call me crazy. I'm putting people on having them eat 750 calories, but it's effective. It is not a long-term strategy, but it is highly effective.
Yeah, it's highly effective. And I didn't feel like when I came off of this, I needed to binge. A lot of times when you do this short, such a small amount of calories, people get off it and they just want to binge. And I have not felt that at all. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like,
let's talk about weight regain. If you lose it that fast, you're just going to gain it all back. Cheryl, what happened to you when you went back to your maintenance calories?
I've only gained like 2 pounds, and I believe that's just the glycogen going into my muscles. I truly am. And there's some days I'm like, ooh, I'm not eating the best. And it's not always about the number on the scale either, but I'm really maintaining and I'm very happy where I'm maintaining. I just love the process. I've had a lot of people raise their eyebrows at me and their eyes pop out of their head. They're like, you're eating how many calories? But I said, I'm doing it right. I'm doing the right amount of protein. I'm getting the carbs. I'm getting the fat. We did the refeed and then you go back to it and you don't feel deprived. Not once did I feel like I was deprived ever.
Awesome. Let's talk about your daughters.
Yeah, my one daughter, she was the one who like, you've got to be kidding me. This is all you're eating. Her eyes were popping out of her head. And she supported me and she's celebrated with me and my success of my weight loss. And that's nice to see. She has always been avid about doing a workout plan, online body kind of stuff and weights. And so she's always following something, which is good. But this is a different way.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
And it worked. And I can see as she gets a little bit older, she's expecting right now. So she's, oh, I can't do anything. But I said, Rachel, when you get out of this,
Doing something right now. You're growing a human.
yeah. Oh, and she's
Yeah.
all over that. You know what I mean? But she's definitely eyeing up the little bit of plan that I did when the time is appropriate for her.
Yeah. A year ago, I never would have entertained this at all.
No, no, I've followed you for a long time, and it's definitely a different approach than you've had before. And it's a successful approach. However, you can't be half in. You got to be all the way because it won't be as successful for you
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
that person or whatever.
Yeah. And I would say for most of my clients, they're not doing a 4-week stretch either. We do it like 2 weeks at a time, right? Take
Yeah.
a little break, and then you're probably going to do another one, right? Depending on how much you have to lose. And I think that approach works great. So it's always about having that conversation with the client. Like you said, like, hey, you have the potential to lose 12 pounds. This is what it's going to cost you.
Yeah. But it happened in 4 weeks.
In
4 weeks.
4 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. If that's not motivation, I don't know what is. That's what really brought me in, of how quick it could happen. And that's what I need. I could have been on a 1400 calorie for 60 days and I would have never lost this amount. I would have never had that motivation to keep going.
You might have lost 8 pounds at a pound a week
Yeah.
if you could stick to it, if you didn't have weekends
Right.
off or.
And you get willy-nilly. You really do. Bite here, bite there. Oh, let me have that. Oh, I'll just blow it off. It's all right.
Yeah. So now you're at maintenance, living happily ever after.
Yeah,
You had your
absolutely.
anniversary. I know that was a big goal for you to
Yes.
to celebrate that. Yeah, you did. You really kicked some butt.
I
You and
wanted to.
Nancy,
That was my
like,
goal.
everybody did. Everybody did really well. So a lot of them hit their goals. You're taking the long approach to just losing what they wanted to lose. They were like 5 pounds away, 6 pounds away, and I'm like, this is a drastic approach, but let's do it.
Yeah,
Is there anything
definitely.
else you want to add?
No, I was just really thrilled with the program and how it all worked and everything. It worked well for me.
And you've been with us long enough that I guess we will go to the biggest loser. Like it doesn't it doesn't work if you gain the weight back, right? The diet didn't work if you gained the weight back. The approach didn't work if you gained the weight back. So there is definitely the education and the lifestyle changes that have to go around that to
Yeah,
maintain the weight loss.
yeah,
You can't just go back to what you were doing. Like Cheryl from last December, is going to be way different from Cheryl coming up this December, right? Because you've just learned
yes,
so much.
absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. A change of pattern, knowing when you're truly hungry versus is it boredom or what am I doing?
It really comes down to that mindful eating, the intuitive eating.
Mhm.
Everybody says that they want, but I don't think they understand. Intuitively, I want a piece of pizza. Like, why is that? Or
Yeah, and it's a matter of really watching the amount that you're eating. You're more careful of like how much are you really putting in that bowl or how much you're putting on that plate. It's an eye opener.
yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
And
And
I appreciate you. My goodness, you're awesome.
no, you're awesome. All right. So if anybody's thinking about taking this approach, I might not necessarily recommend doing a 4-week stint, but we do run rapid fat loss protocols with the clients. Our next one is going to be surprise, September 8th, that week after Labor Day. But I
Perfect.
will say you have to be ready for it and you can't just jump into it. So don't be coming in seeing if you to do the program on September 8th because it just doesn't work like that. You have to have a feed up. You have to be, knowing how to do macros and this approach will work, I promise.
For sure.
So thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate you. And if anybody if you are considering it and you do book a call with me and on my application it will say referred by, you can say referred by Cheryl or heard Cheryl on the podcast. And if you sign up, Cheryl gets $150. So
Awesome.
if you want to talk with Cheryl more, I'm sure she'd be willing to have a little conversation with you. So just let me know. I know I just threw
Absolutely.
that on you, but talking about what the experience is working with Catalyst and how we are treat clients.
Yeah. It's
So
been
yeah.
a great experience. Highly recommend it.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you next week.
Wonderful.